Good afternoon and welcome to Join the Dots. Now, I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon because I've got other things on Monday and Tuesday, but I want to say that so that you realise I'm not aware of what might have happened on the market on Monday and Tuesday morning. Okay, so this is being recorded on Sunday, and the title really is Experience, Insight and the Harsh Reality. And I'm going to connect those three because that's what we need in this situation. Now, I think I've told you before that in Dubai in June 2008, I've been in Dubai for 5 years and I'd seen what had happened to the stock market and then the property market. And I was very happy, or not very happy, but I was very confident to predict that the property market would fall there 70%. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine saying that live on radio? On Dubai Eye, the most popular radio station and the most popular radio show of the week, the property show, and my debut. And I said it would fall 70%. And of course it did. That's because I use my experience, I use my insight, and I connect them to the reality of the market, of what's happening in the world. So let's have a look. What is happening? Well, I'm afraid, as you know, that I see a similar housing setup, not exactly the same, but the same result, I fear, could even be worse. Okay? I fear jobs are going to be lost at a huge pace, and we even have the AI effect, which still has to play. Remember, that's going to affect very, very middle class jobs, lawyers, teachers, doctors, people in the healthcare. It's going to affect a lot of people. Jobs are going to go. Delinquencies, we've talked about delinquencies, and the reason that is because people have lost confidence, or they've lost their job, or they're not earning as much, and I'll come on to that in a minute. And that means we've got delinquencies in their payments. And that means we've got a banking crisis brewing, because it means the banks aren't going to collect all the money they've lent. And they're going to have a problem, aren't they, with bad debts? And when the confidence in the banking system starts to quake, that's when you've got a massive problem. Okay. Italy. I'm looking at stats now. And I want to talk about general confidence in the world, okay? That's what it's all about. It's about the confidence and my experience and insight in taking that effect on confidence and coming to the harsh reality of what we face. I told you the other day about a gentleman called Andrea Cecchi, C-E-C-C-H-I, a former banker who resigned because of the way the banking industry, I say destroys life. It can destroy life. It did in 2008-09. And it's destroying it again this time. And I'll come on to some examples of that. Andrea Cecchi, absolutely brilliant piece he wrote, and I want you to look him up on Substack. Please look him up. Andrea, A-N-D-R-E-A, Cecchi, C-E-C-C-H-I. Look him up, read his Substack. I'd happily subscribe to him, but I can't subscribe to everything, but I think he's got some very, very good points. And his reaction of all the things that are going wrong in the world, of all the lack of confidence, of all the crises, is similar to mine. He says gold and real estate in a safe area. Yes, you've got to think, where is real estate safe? Clearly it's not safe in Gaza or Ukraine or places like that, but it's not safe in a lot of places allied to those disputes, allied to those crises, which are going to expand. Okay, they're going to expand. Don't hope. You have to use your insight, your experience, and the harsh reality of what we face. Okay? So, Andrea Cecchi, I think you should look him up. And he talks about the Italian situation. And I want to give you this as an example, okay? Because you don't hear Italy in the news. You don't hear bad things coming out of Italy, do you? Okay, you don't. And yet, what have they got? Milan now has 7,093 police incidents per 100,000 of population. Can you imagine that? 124.5 robberies. Sorry, 124,500 robberies per 100,000 population. Florence, a beautiful city. If you've ever been to Florence, it's the most wonderful city. And of course, nothing can beat Rome. Nothing can beat Rome. Rome is the most spectacular city in the world, in my view. Rome has 6,071 crimes per 100,000, and Florence just behind on 6,054. This is Andrea Cecchi's specialist subject, Italy. So you think of a beautiful country, a beautiful, peaceful country, just minding their own business, and here they are with the worst crime statistics in Europe. And just to show you how this affects the economy, because a lot of you are saying, so what? What about the economy, Mike? Okay. So the purchasing power of the average Italian is now 10.5% below where it was in 2019. So use the data, use the experience, understand the background as to what is happening across Europe now. It is under massive attack from within, from without, from politicians, from judiciary, from the police. The people are being persecuted in Europe. And I'm going to give you, I think it's 5 links today, but I'm not going to talk about them in depth. I'm just going to give you the links below. 1, this is in America actually, it's MAGA. A man wearing a MAGA hat was thrown out of a sports event because he's wearing a MAGA hat. It just means make America great again. What can be wrong with that? Then number 2, Manchester March, thousands, and it is thousands. Sometimes when people say thousands of people march, you see about 50. No, this is thousands. Thousands of people in Manchester, ordinary people, marched against what is happening. That's link number 3. Link number 2. So link number 3, boiling point. Again, social disturbance is crippling. It cripples economies, it cripples confidence, it cripples people's willingness to do things, to grow, to produce. No, they're disturbed, they're angry. Ireland is revolting. That's the caption. Obviously, Ireland's not revolting. It's a beautiful country, but it's in trouble. And the people are now revolting. Ireland. And then we have public health and truth. And I'm going to put a link in there because I want you to see this. It's an interview of Dr. Asim Malhotra. He was a massive vaccine proponent at the beginning of COVID. He even went on GB News and talked about people having the vaccine. And he did it free, he wasn't paid. But at the end of the day, his father, who had been head of the British Medical Institute, BMI, died after a vaccine. And so he went to look deeply into the data, and what he found scared him silly. This is a good interview. We haven't talked much about health because I know it's a very sensitive issue, but you have to put it into the picture. If we're going to build the total picture of what is going on within society, within economies, and what the reaction is likely to be, you must have all the pieces. So I want you to watch that public health and truth video. It's a super interview by Dr. John Campbell, who now has over 3.25 million viewers on his YouTube site. He's brilliant. He too was a massive vaccine proponent until he was vaccine injured. And then he's taken the time to interview everyone about everything, to come to the truth. We only want the truth. Okay, so please watch that. Cecchi, back to Andrea Cecchi. He says gold, bricks and Bitcoin. Now, he's got an interesting thing to say on Bitcoin. And I want to just look down here if I can. And if I can get the sun out of my light. Okay. So what he said, what he's doing is he's buying gold and he's buying property in the Bahamas. He wants to be safe. He doesn't consider Europe safe. He's Italian. He doesn't consider it safe. Can you imagine what effect that has on the economy when people don't feel it's safe? It has a huge effect. Huge effect. So about Bitcoin, and I've said this before, and I don't want to upset all those people who've got hundreds or tens of Bitcoin even. You're still millionaires. Okay. What is the problem with Bitcoin? Let's quote Andrea Cecchi. He says, Roger Ver, one of the first computer developers who worked on creating the underlying technology, explains it to us. Now, this is a banker, remember, so he wants facts. He doesn't want emotion, he wants facts. No cryptocurrency project is immune to corruption, no matter how promising its technology, because all cryptocurrencies depend on software and therefore programmers for their very existence. And that's the fact. So I've talked about it before. There is, I don't know what percentage chance of something going wrong, but there is a chance. So you shouldn't be 100% invested in anything. That's why we hedge things, isn't it? That's why I'm going through the gold route, the silver route, but I'm hedging it with a bit of crypto in case that is the adopted answer by the West in response to what I think will be a lot larger metal holdings in the East than they declare and than we know of. Okay, so at the end of the day, summarising, the middle class are worried and they're getting poorer. The poor, well, sadly, they are the victims every time, aren't they? Remember that effect, we've talked about it before, the Cantillon effect. The people closest to where the money's printed get the money first. And the rich are getting richer. And the inequality is growing. And when you see inequality growing, when all the public are disturbed by what is happening, immigration, yes, judiciary, yes, two-tier policing, yes, it's all happening. It's happening in Italy, in Ireland, in England, across Europe, France, Spain. Nowhere is exempt. So please understand, I'm trying to join the dots. I'm using my experience and my insight, but I'm also looking at the harsh reality of what this world faces. And none of it is positive, and all of it can have a very damaging effect on your wealth. So please keep watching, join the dots. Please subscribe, please share it with friends. This is a general view of the world so that people can understand it, because they see all these things happening. But it needs someone to talk to them and say, what do you think the effect is of all these things that are happening all at the same time? Okay, thank you very much.